Hello, class. We're about to start Chapter 7, Lesson 1. This is the last chapter of the mathematics portion of the GED test. So, we have Lesson 1, Plane Figures. Four-sided plane figures. A plane figure is a set of line segments, all lying on a single plane. To prepare for the GED mathematical reasoning test, learn the properties of each shape. You will need to identify the characteristics of different types of four-sided plane figures and draw conclusions about their angles and sides. You are already familiar with rectangles and squares. A rectangle is a four-sided figure with four right angles. The opposite sides across from each other, are the same length and they are parallel. So here we have the rectangle, and actually I should have said this, we're on actually page 388. So this is the rectangle, and if you notice here, these opposite sides, you see they has this one line here and one line here. That means that these sides are equal to each other. And then this has the two lines, this has the two lines. These sides are equal to each other, which means the opposite sides are equal to each other. And it says it here, sides with the same markings are equal. Then we have the right angles here, as you can see. Now it says a square is actually a kind of rectangle. It too has four right angles with parallel opposite sides. However, a square has one additional property. Its four sides are all the same length. So if you notice here, let's look at the angles. We got angle A, B, C, and D for the rectangle. The square, we have angles E, F, G, and H. And you notice all of their angles are the same. When you see this little box here, that means that it's 90 degrees. So each one of these are 90-degree angles. Now if you notice here, all of these sides have two markings on it. So that means all of these sides are equal. Now, a parallelogram is a four-sided figure whose opposite sides are parallel and the same length. You see the sides are parallel and the same length. Now, one thing that I didn't say earlier was what is parallel. Parallel lines mean they would never cross each other. So if you notice here, this is a straight line, this is a straight line, and they never will cross each other. And then these two lines here, they will never cross each other. Now, a parallelogram is similar to a rectangle with the opposite sides are equal, which you see here. But the big difference is their angles. You notice here, these are not marked as 90-degree angles for each angle. So, it tells us that the opposite sides are parallel in the same length. In addition, its opposite angles, the angles diagonally across from each other, are also equal in measure. A special parallelogram called a rhombus, which is not shown, has four sides of equal length. Okay, now we go here. A trapezoid is a four-sided figure with exactly one pair of parallel sides. These two sides here are the only parallel sides, because these two sides would end up intersecting each other. The definition of a trapezoid does not dictate the measure of the angles or the length of the sides. All four-sided plane figures have one important property in common. The sum of the measures of the interior angles is 360 degrees. You can use this fact to find the missing angle measure. So if you look at all four of these figures, including the rhombus that's not shown, all of them, the inside, if you add up all of their angles, are supposed to equal 360. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to have us go to the practice problems, and then we can answer a lot of these situations. So now we look here at problem number 1. Okay, problem number 1. Let me take this up a little bit. Okay, cool. Okay, problem number 1, it says, list the names of four-sided plane figures introduced on page 388 that can exhibit the following properties. Write none if no four-sided plane figures has the given property. Now, number one, it says 4 right angles. If we look back up here, 4 right angles is actually the rectangle and the square. So it's the rectangle and the square. And remember, right angles are denoted by these boxes here. Okay, so now that took care of problem number one. Problem number two. Now, I'm not going to keep switching back on pages. You can look in your book to look back at the properties, but I'm going to give you the answers here. So number two, it says opposite sides are equal in length. So that's a parallelogram. It's a rectangle. It's a square. And it's also that one figure that's not shown, the rhombus. And you can read their definitions that would tell you that they're all equal to each other. Okay, the opposite sides are equal to each other. Now, three, exactly one pair of parallel sides. The only thing that fits that is the trapezoid. Number four, all angles are equal in measure. Now, there's actually, with number four, there's actually two. It's the rectangle and the square. Because if you notice, all of their angles are right angles, so they are equal to each other. Okay, number five. It says only 3 right angles. That's none. That is none, because if you look back at the figures, none of them have only 3 right angles. Number 6. It says opposite sides are equal in measure. Now, number 6 is basically the same answer as we gave for number 2. So it's a parallelogram, the rectangle, square, and finally the rhombus. Okay, number 7, all 4 sides are equal in length. Now we know the only one that has all 4 sides equal in length, well actually is 2. It's the square and the rhombus. Okay, if you read their definitions on the previous page, it will tell you that. Okay, number 8. It says the sum of the interior angles is 360. So basically, that's all of them. So it's a parallelogram, the rectangle, square, rhombus, and the trapezoid. Okay, so number 9, it says sides are all different lengths. That's only one of them, and that's the trapezoid. And then finally, number 10, 4 equal angles and 4 equal sides. Number 10 can only be the square. Okay, now we scroll down here. We go to problem 14. So we move on over here to problem number 11. It says choose the one best answer to each question. Questions 11 and 12 refer to the following figure. Angle F is 20 degrees more than 3 times the measure of angle H. What is the measure of angle F? Okay, so we're already told with angle F is supposed to be 3 times, we'll make H X. So it'd be 3 times X plus 20. So angle H would be X. Okay, now if you look at angle E and G, both of those are 90 degrees. So we want to find the measure of angle F. So what we would do is this. We were let known at the end of the previous page that all four-sided figures interior angles are equal to 360. So we could take angle E, angle G. Well, let me do this. Angle E plus angle G. Angle E plus angle G plus angle F plus angle H is supposed to equal 360. Angle E is 90, angle G is 90, angle F is 3x plus 20, and angle H is x. So we add them together. 90 and 90 is 180 plus 20 is 200 plus 3x, well actually it's 4x, because 3x and x is 4x, is equal to 360. So we subtract 200 on both sides. So 4x is equal to 160. We divide each side by 4, and x is equal to 40. Now remember, x is angle H. To find angle F, we would have to take 3 times 40 plus 20. 3 times 40 is 120 plus 20 is 140. So our final answer here would be C. So it'd be 140. Okay, so now we took care of problem number 11. Now we look at problem number 12. Problem number 12 states, in order to figure EFGH to be a trapezoid, which of the following must be a true statement? Okay, if we said EF is the same length as FH. Now we know trapezoids, none of the sides are equal. So we know A is out. EF must be parallel. This is a symbol for parallel of GH. Now we know, looking here at EF and GH, they are parallel. So far B is our answer. So now we look at C. Now also it says the measure of angle F must equal the measure of angle H. That's not true because this is not 90 degrees. Remember, we found out that angle H was 40 degrees when we did it here. So we know that's not true. And then a measure of angle G must equal to the measure of angle F. We found out the measure of angle F was 140 degrees, so we know that's not true. So our answer here for number 12 would be B. So number 12 would be B, which is EF is parallel to GH. Now we come here to problem 13. Now with problem 13, it says, question 13 refers to the following figure. If the opposite sides of the figure RS, UT are parallel, so that means RS and TU are parallel, and SU and RT are parallel, what is the measure of angle R? Now if you look here, don't you notice that all these sides are equal? These are all 5 centimeters. These are parallel lines. So that means these opposite angles must be equal as well. So angle R has to be 90 degrees, which is 13. So 13, which would be C. That'll be our 90 degrees. Now 14. A four-sided plane figure has sides measuring 10, 15, 10, and 15. The opposite angles are equal, but there are no right angles. What is the figure? Okay, now, let's take a look here. There are no right angles and the opposite sides are equal, or opposite angles. So if the opposite angles are equal, that means the opposite sides are equal. So that means this would be 10, 10, this would be 15, and 15. This is the figure. So they're saying the opposite angles are equal to each other. So if we look back here, going back up here, this fits into the parallelogram. It says here, in addition, its opposite sides are also equal in measure. So that's the parallelogram. So number 10 would be, number 14 would be C. So C is the answer to problem 14. And we are done with the first lesson of chapter 7. I will post this to YouTube. Have a wonderful day.